We are the biggest, we are the largest, we are the highest, we are the greatest, we are the tallest, we are the biggest African spiritual platform. I welcome each and every one of us to another great episode. I am Queen Hadasha, call me Empress Makida. I am the spear of destiny. I am the world star number 8. I am Labraska, the sun goddess. I welcome you. It's another great episode. So now I had our platform. So I'm more about the Bible. We are consciousness family, and each and individual of us is called the Pearls. I welcome you. Let's welcome our guest for today. He's Fred Amuzu Asinyo. We welcome you.
Thank you.
Okay, so today is your first time. Yes, so take advantage and greet the public, our people, acknowledge or pay obeisance to them. Introduce yourself to us. We want to know what you are and then why you are here today.
Okay. So good evening, Revelation platform. Good evening to all the viewers. Thank you all for supporting the platform. My name is Fred Amuzu Asinyo, and today I'm here to share some insight that I have. I also have a Presbyterian background and also a member of SGI Ghana. What I'm here to discuss is to help to broaden people's awareness about creation story of the Bible. So I call it debunking the creation theory of the Bible. And I'm here, I'm not a leader of any religious organization. I'm not an executive member of any group or anybody religious body. I'm here all on my own accord. And whatever I'm here to discuss, I might quote the Bible, I might talk about other religion, but it does not reflect the direct teaching of any religion. This is from my own personal studies and understanding, all to help for the purpose of the platform, to arouse people's consciousness and bring people to a deeper awareness of the current spirituality of the world. So this my intro, and thank you all.
welcome to Revelations, the largest. Okay, so family, your guest for today, no, what did I making no? Ne stand ne clear say only had to preach asori bia ne dia ono awa kwa no and only e ba church. So at this point, do you belong to any religion or any group or any fraternity?
Oh,
you've made it clear that you are on your own. You
Yes.
are just coming to share the knowledge you've acquired with us, and we appreciate that. We welcome you. But I want to know whether you belong to any fraternity or any group of...
Okay, I still claim membership for Presbyterian because I was born into it. I had my baptism and confirmation there, so I still claim membership. But I've been a true one for some time. And I also claim membership for SGI Ghana because I was a full member, and like I said, I'm still a true one there, but I still go from time to time to study with the members. So
tell us a bit.
I don't belong to any special
You've made it clear.
Of,
tell us a bit about one thing you love about Presbyterian and one thing you wish you could change in that fraternity, and also one thing you love about your second fraternity, and what one thing you would love to change from that fraternity.
Okay, so thank you very much first of all for the question. And with Presbyterian, truly there's nothing I want to change about it because it is an organization that started way before me, and I really can't say much about it. I don't want to change anything, but what I love about it, it is actually what makes me who I am when it comes to spirituality and understanding spirituality. Presbyterian made me. I was a member of YPG, and I was a member of Bible Studies and Prayer Group. And Bible Studies and Prayer Group taught me the Bible from the beginning. And also with the Bible Studies and Prayer Group, we do go to evangelism every Sunday after church. So it helped build my spirituality from the very beginning. That is where I got the yearning and the anguish to want to develop spiritually. So that I love about Presbyterian because yes, that is where I got this thing from. That is where I got my
breast milk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so,
and the second one?
Yeah, and the second one with SGI.
Give us the full name.
Soka Gakkai International. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is in short, it's called SGI. Yeah, what I love about it, almost everything, because it taught me independence. When you go, it is a Buddhist organization, but also they are atheist-like, in a sense that atheist-like, they teach, it's like a philosophy, and the philosophy, it teach about self-awareness. You see that everything, most of they are teaching everything, it boils down to self-awareness, independent. So when you are in that organization, you realize that you give less attention to external factors in your life, but more on your personal life, because as they believe in karma, everything that comes in your way, good or be it good or bad, it's all from like your karma or something. It means that you deserve it, that's why you're getting it. It taught me how to like learn to own up to your own predicaments. Know that things are not happening to you out of the blue. It's happening to you because
it belongs to you.
Yes, or you might have done something to create that cause. They believe in what they call cause and effect. Every effect is a result of a cause that has been put in place initially. So it taught me independence. So it taught me to depend on myself more. Even though we are humans, sometimes we have to put our focus on other things, but it gives me some energy to put more stock in what I can do for me than always.
You will not blame people
looking,
for
yes,
whatever, to look for
yes,
witches and wizards.
Precisely.
I understand that,
yeah,
for now. So what you are coming to teach us today, what is your basis? Or like, what is your source?
Okay. So my source, I can't say I have a single source, because like I said, I'm an avid reader. I read from anything at all that is available. If I can digest it, I read it. I love to read. On my idle time, I read. I'm always reading. I'm always reading. Even when I became a member of SGI, I was always reading my Bible. At the time that I became a member, I actually even stopped going to church and all those things, but I was always reading. And then when, at the time, I realized that the opinion that I have that moved me there, like Christianity is not the thing, I realized that it is not even complete, because it has got nothing to do with Christianity. It has got nothing to do with it. So when that happened, I started reading the how they call it. I started learning other things about Christianity again. So I didn't actually dump it. So I read. So my source, as you are asking me, and it goes to philosophy, literature, etc. Because in Syria I also did literature, and I read a lot of literature materials in philosophy. So I don't have a single source.
So should we say your source is from books?
We can say that, and also from
experience.
Yes, or some how do you call it? You know, when you read from book, sometimes you have to be able to discern the meaning. Otherwise,
so what do we say your source is? What do we say according when you calculate all these things? Now we shouldn't say your source is the book. Should we say your source is from consciousness? How do we put it, please?
I don't want to attribute it to a single source, or I don't want to, yeah.
Okay, so if you have 30 sources, if you feel your source is like 5 or 10, can you mention them? Because you don't want to attribute it to a single source.
Okay.
And we would want to know your source of what you are coming to share with us.
So, yeah, so I would say some come from my basic training from Presbyterian, and also the teachings that I've come across with the SGI organization, and also, yes, the books that I've read.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say your source is experience.
Precisely. I think you put it better than...
because you can't be... So your source is experience, because you learn this, you read this, Jojo, you know, you get this, you jump from here to here, so it's experience.
Precisely.
Or discovery.
Discovery, experience, yeah. I think you should be...
You are watching the biggest and largest. Okay, so let's go straight into your topic. When we are done with your topic and there's time, I ask a few questions. Okay. Debunking the creation theory of the Bible. Yeah. What do you mean?
Good. So what I mean is this. So like insight that I've gathered over the years, I've realized that because I was also raised like any ordinary Christian, a Presbyterian, a full member. So we all had the same teaching that, all the members have. So the way it was impacted to me, that I know that this is how it had been impacted on people. But as I was growing up and diving deeper into religion and, studies, I realized that along the way, I came to a realization that the way it is being taught is not actually how it is happening, or it's like they are the way it is. The whole creation story has been accepted on a face value. It's not, there's a deeper meaning to that. There is a deeper meaning.
How has it been accepted that you think is not so? Okay,
so it has been accepted. We all know that the creation started with Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, and they were our first parents, and we are their generation and all that. But to me, it is not Adam and Eve. They are not the beginning of all creation. They are not the beginning of all creation. But Adam and Eve represent a stage of development, spiritual development, which Moses was using to teach the Israelites. It was a stage of development that when you reach that stage of development, it's like you've reached some certain level that from this level, you are able to discern, or you are able to do certain things that people who have not transcended to that level cannot do. Okay, so let me also go further by saying, when you look at we can establish the understanding that the Bible, the first 5 books, which was the Torah, the first one was written by Moses. We've all been told that he was inspired by the Holy Spirit. Okay, so when you look at the history of the Bible, now, Moses was writing about, he had been inspired by the Holy Spirit, and he's writing about the creation of the world. Now, it started from Adam. And when you look at the bloodline, from Adam and Eve begat what? Cain and Abel. Cain, slay his brother, and then he have to move, etc. I'm just trying to summarize the whole thing. Cain had his own bloodline. Then that one was ignored. When he had Enoch and he went to build his own city, he told God that he will be killed because of what he have done. And God said, nobody will kill you. If somebody kill you, your blood will be demanded from him 7 times. So he went to build his city. That bloodline was ignored. Now, it came back to Adam again. Adam had Seth. And then the bloodline goes down again. It goes down. Then it comes to Noah. Noah also had 3 children, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. These 3 also continued the bloodline. At the time, the 3 was ignored. Some preachers said we Africans are suffering because we were from the generation of Ham, because Ham saw the father's nakedness and he cursed him. Yeah. He said Ham. Fine. So Noah cursed Canaan. He didn't curse Ham who saw him. He cursed Canaan, the son of Ham. So that generation also go by. He said, Japheth, you'll be under the tent of your brother Shem, because he blessed Shem. Shem, the generation goes down, the bloodline goes down, and then Abraham comes from that bloodline. So you can see that other bloodlines were being ignored. Now, Adam begat Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. And then Jacob also had his children. But before Jacob died, he was living in Egypt. So the 12th tribe were in Egypt. After the 12th tribe, it was from the 12th tribe that Moses comes from. So this Moses, who have been inspired by the Holy Spirit, you can see that he's writing down his family tree. And the family tree, it is broader than just, Abraham. There were other branches that have been ignored.
He was writing his own branch.
Yes. Yeah. He was writing his own. So that is how it is. But when he started, when you watch from even at that time, in the Old Testament, you realize that he was raised in the, the royal palace of Pharaoh. because he was put in this thing, because at the time that Pharaoh was killing all the Israelites, the male child, the mother to save him.
The basket business and
yes.
on the water business.
So it was Pharaoh's daughter that picked him and raised him. And at that time, when you are, how do you call it? It's those who are in the royal courts, they get the best education. They actually get the education. The rest, you don't get any education. It's from the people from the royal court. So he was educated because he was there. It was in the Old Testament, it was briefly said. But when you read the New Testament, Acts chapter 7, verse 20 going, it says that Moses was taught, he was well educated in all the knowledge of the Egyptians.
They even say that the shrine, the Bosum, he learned it from there.
Yes, he was well trained. So before he was living there, he was also an enlightened person. He had developed spiritually. He knew he could understand. So even if it was discernment, if it was the Holy Spirit, as said, he started from a point that he realized that from that point, Adam and Eve, they has risen to some certain level. So let me start the family tree from there, the generation from there, like one of the purest breed. Let me start from there. It is something that happens in every, even in our current generation, it happens. Sometimes, even some families don't want their children to marry from this. Everybody wants to have the purest next generation. Yes, so it was. So you look at it and look at the generation that have actually risen to their to some certain level, and it starts from there. So you can see that he was also coming from that bloodline. And when you go down to him, after him and all that, you could see that even when you start from the Matthew, the bloodline was still, the generation was still read out. And they said from Abraham, they started from Abraham. Matthew started from Abraham, Matthew chapter 1. It said from Abraham to David, it was 14th generation. From David to the time they were captured and took into Babylon as slaves, it was 14th generation. From Babylon to Christ, another 14th generation. So you will see that, and when you study this whole thing, you can see that there's some bloodline that was deliberately ignored. Even Cain, after Noah and to Abraham, Canaan nothing was being said about Canaan and Ham. But when Moses brought them out of Egypt, you could see that when they were in the wilderness, sometimes when they moved, they said that they went to the Canaanites or they went to the other even bloodline that was ignored. You see that it was being mentioned. So meaning that they were there, but their stories were not being written.
Obi na etro ne story. Nti on fa obi engum. Te say me na me etro aduanafo ya, konafo asem be den wum.
Yes. So they were ignored. But when you read the five book, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, you will see that all the ones that are being ignored, because me, I like when I want to read, I don't want to
be picking.
No,
I just have to dice the whole thing. Red, black.
So you will see that from time to time, the ignored one comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out.
And people are not focusing on that.
Yes, because the Bible is
we all want to become generation of Abraham.
The Bible is a big book. Reading it is not an easy thing, but if you think you have all the time in the world, why is it?
So what are you debunking right now?
Yes, so that is what I said. So the creation story is not actually the beginning of all creation. Yes, the Adam and Eve story is not the beginning of all creation.
But do you believe that the world is 2,000 years old? So that's what they see.
Oh, the world, when you say believe, I don't believe. I think the world is far older. Yes, I think the world is far older. And I think even the scientific theory about the Big Bang theory, even is more logical compared to the biblical version of the creation.
Tell us about it.
Oh, I can go deeper, but to just give it brief, we know that there were ages after the Big Bang theory and how evolution started from this, our planet. I'm not a scientific person, so I can't go there, but I think that one is more this thing, talking about even when there was, the age of the dinosaurs, which went into extinct before our age even began. That one is even more
vivid.
Like, it's more logical and more accurate compared to what they were. But like I said, the allegory, Adam and Eve, to me, is an allegory. It is not like a false thing. It's not a fiction. It is actually an allegory, meaning that it is like something, but it has been hidden. So when you are able to interpret that story, that poem, then you can find the meaning. And where am I coming from? Even the Hebrews, who only deal with the Torah, they had a book that served like a manual to the Bible. And that book is called the Zohar. When you take the Zohar...
Hey, you people they read. Tell us.
Great. Your signal made me like feel like I've crossed a boundary.
You've not crossed a boundary.
But the signal I got from you. You see?
There's Zohar.
You see?
Charlie.
So even they have this book to help them to be able to decode some of the teaching of Moses. You see? But we, and even most of the things has been lost in translation. That is why it's an allegory. It's not fiction. It is true, but because most of the meaning of the writing has been lost in translation, it's difficult. People always, what we have in the English is what and we always take it face value. But if you even study something small, when you study something small about Hebrew alphabet, you realize that every alphabet has how they call it, a numerical value. And they were not just writing. It was a skillful act.
They were putting this thing together with numerology, no the way.
The writing was a skillful act. If you are not experienced, you can't do it. And even they said in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. But when you read from the Hebrew, the first book, it said in the beginning, gods and goddesses created the earth. Now, how did this come about? Everybody knows this thing, it has been established. I think people now know that El, E-L, stands for God. They know. And when you go to the Hebrew language, the El is represents a male god, and Ella represents female god. So in the beginning, and when you put them together, you get Elohim. So in the beginning, Elohim created heaven and earth.
That is for the Hebrews. But El is the god of
the male god.
It's a male god. It's the god of Hebrews. They say the El, and then they will be like the Mitra.
When you say the Hebrews, it's the name of God, but in the Hebrew, that is how they call it. But the books we are reading now, the Bible, we have the translated version. Is it not from the same Hebrew Bible?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That the El is their God.
When you say
is it the God of the world? Is it a God for all of us?
No, but it's a terminology given to God, what they believe to be God.
To them. That's why I'm asking.
Fine.
Is it God for all of us?
For now, we say to them.
To them. Because if you go to these Romans or the Europeans, they would also say Mitra. That is their God.
Yes, so for now, we say to them.
Yes.
Yes, for now to them. So I'm saying most of this thing has been lost in translation. Now, when you also look at the reason I'm saying that is how they call it, it is not how people take it. Look at Moses. Why was Moses the one to write the how they call it, the history or the teaching of the Hebrews? Why was it supposed to be Moses? Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, and then Seth, and it goes down, and Noah. Why is it Moses who was writing the Bible?
No, about later.
Yeah, why is it Moses? Now, when you go into history too, we can also establish that fact that, how they call it, written language started from Egypt. Now, when you go online, they are saying there was one older written language, but archaeologists have found some tablets. But now, even that one, they are still working on it there. But we all know, and up to now, the fact is that written language started from Egypt. Hieroglyphics started from, they knew how to write and all those things. So you could tell, say, from Adam to Jacob, you could see that these are people, excuse me to say, like they were not educated. They didn't know how to write. They didn't have a system of record keeping or writing. But Moses, being lucky that he was raised in the house of the Pharaoh.
In a royal house.
Yes, in the royal house, we all know how records are very important. And he was taught he learned how to write. He knew the importance of record keeping.
So now
when he went to together. That's why even when he wanted the first commandment, he went there 40 days in the mountain. Because that skill is a skill that was not given to anybody. He had that skill. And he could not just be doing it in front of everybody. 40 days, 40 nights to write the law. When he came and they were worshipping calf, he destroyed it.
They said God gave him. You said he went to write it.
Oh, God gave him. Yes, it can be said that God gave him. But I'm saying that this is the evidence that we have. That he was coming from a nation that we knew had a written language. When the whole world didn't have. They have a system of record keeping. So you are saying that what he was taught there or ignore and then came and God was, sometimes. Precisely.
Precisely, saying.
I don't know. I can.
I'm not waiting.
Well, it's plain as that. Yeah, it's as plain as you put it. So. That is how it happened. So that's why he was the one to write the.
So how do you think we can actually get into the Bible and actually pick the ones we need to pick, decode them, so we are able to? I always tell people that the Bible is a coded book.
Yeah.
Because when you decode some of these scriptures, you realize, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And sometimes I also feel that time they were putting it in a story for us to understand because we had lesser knowledge. Yeah. That's how I feel. Yeah. So they were writing it in a manner which we will, I don't want to say it's animation. Yes, I bet it's a insult. Yeah. But I said, now I say, yen come, na yen decode, be wahonoma, yen use numbers, ni figures, ni fan decoding a bear problem. What exactly are you debunking?
Okay. Good. So, what he was also teaching, it was also a universal truth, not linked with only Christianity the way Christian has accepted it. He was teaching a universal truth that human development, just like biologically, we all know how when an egg is fertilized in an ovary, becomes, grows and becomes a fetus, and when the child is born, the stage of growth. It starts from somewhere before even teeth grow, and it gets to puberty. Puberty, there's a different development. You see pubics, and you see development of chest, and women have their own development. There's a cycle, menstrual cycle, etc. We go, when you are aging, there's a new development, there's menopause, there's all those things. These are the biological development. Spiritually, there's a similar trend. Spiritually, it's a similar thing. There's a development. You don't just start from A and go to Z. You start from A, you develop small, and you grow. So he was teaching a universal, how they call it, spirituality. But he has to link it with the people in the way that they can accept it. When he ran from Egypt and he went to Midian, before he got married to Zipporah and this thing, he met the in-law. When God revealed himself to him, as the Bible said, and he wanted to go, he told God that, as you said I should go and take the Israel, when I go to them, what will I tell them? What will I tell them? That your God said I should come? And they will ask me, which God are you talking about? So what is your name? When they tell them, I am that I am. But when you read about, he was concerned. What should I tell them? So before he even think, this guy was worried about how to put the thing. So you have to find a way to put it in the way that the people will believe and accept. So otherwise, you can't deliver them from
which God
Egypt.
was talking to him? Did God really spoke with him?
That part I can't say, but I'm telling you that Moses was actually teaching something that was a universal
truth.
Yes. He was, it is known and it has been established that Moses was spiritually
endowed.
Yes. Spiritually, Moses was very deep. And where did he get all those things from? He started his God. What can you attribute it from? It started from because even how they call it, Elisha didn't just come from thin air. He was trained by Elijah, and also he asked for a double portion. You know, everybody needs training. However, you need some training. So where did he get a basic trainings from? It's from there. Then when he flee because he killed some Egyptian and Pharaoh wanted him and went to Midian.
Is it everybody that needs training? Joshua didn't get any training.
Yes, not everybody, but the Bible have already made us understand that he was trained. When you go to Acts 7,
I know.
Yeah, he was trained in all the knowledge and ways. That is, like it says it specifically. So is there. So yes, not everybody. Some people are fortunate; they can just have it innate. They just grow with it. Some people, too, mostly the natural way. We all have to go
process.
Through. Yes.
Okay, so what do you think, like I said, my question, back to my question, how do you think we can decode the Bible? How can we, because you said the Christians are not understanding it the way they're supposed to understand it. Okay. How do you think they should understand it? Okay,
so I mentioned something and you gave me some signal. But
no, go ahead though, I didn't give any signal.
So, like I said, even the Hebrews, they had a book that served as a manual for them to decode the Bible. And we, that was introduced to the Bible later, that we didn't have. So how do you expect us to even get it? And our people also have some dogmatic sense of loyalty that they feel like maybe trying to broaden your scope of understanding by looking elsewhere or this thing, it is like maybe it is an offense to your belief. So people tend to like pay deaf ear when you even want to bring a subject up. I have friends that the moment I start to talk about some things, their demeanor and everything, I become like the Antichrist. Yes, people are like that. They don't want to like try to hear something different. So when you are like that, how can you even find out? And I was saying that even the Hebrew alphabet, we are not Hebrews. We don't read Hebrew. And the original text was written in Hebrew. And it has been translated several times. Even the first translation, which was the Septuagint, the Greek one, they were very careful and meticulous about the words they were using. Knowledge, they use different words. There is gnosis, there is nosco, there is gnosis, there is dinosco, there is epignosis, and all these things were knowledge, but in a little higher level at each trend. That is how there's, but we don't read Greek. We can read English, so they've translated, we have the English version, and that is what we are using. So how can we decode it? It's a very deep thing, and we don't have that willingness. We've taken it as face value. We have our faith. We have our belief in it. It's okay. Anybody else who says something else, that person is an enemy. So how can we find out? Because all this thing that I'm saying, it is not magic or something. It is out there. The information is out there. We all have access to the biggest library on earth now.
Internet.
Simple. We all have access to the biggest library. So the information is out there. It's just up to you to go and read it. It is not like I said. The information is out there. But how many of us, we don't even have the time. People believe in so for Maame, I don't have time. I'm going to where I need money, so just pray for me and just tell me to work, I believe, and I'll go. That is what most people like. But nobody wants to go down there on their own and then try to dig and find something on their own. So like I said, he was teaching about a universal truth, some level of development in spirituality. And if you study keenly about his teaching or the Christianity, and you study others, you see that nobody is saying anything different. Buddhist, Christianity, Islam, nobody is saying, they are all saying, but people have different practice. Some have rigorous practice, some have this thing for that development. But they are all fighting towards the same direction. Spiritual development is one thing. People, you can use different, it's just like
when you study how people cook their jollof, everybody have a different way, but at the end of the day, everybody cooks jollof and everybody enjoys a whole meal. So it's the same thing. Other people have different way of practice of developing yourself. And even when you said it, the communion, we call it the Eucharist. The Eucharist is not only Christianity who gives the Eucharist. Almost every religion does. But it's in different way. When you go to Hindu and this thing, there are days that they do their ceremony, either they are sharing fruit or something. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And the Muslims do saraka.
The saraka is a different thing. That is like offering that. But the Eucharist they give to members is to develop you spiritually. Like how we take communion that is what it does. So,
and that's what the Muslims, they don't do communion like you are saying. They don't eat anything. But in their Christmas, they cook and they eat together. Share. Yes. Saraka, that's it.
Yeah, the Saraka too is there. But the Eucharist too, they all practice in one way or the other. They all practice in one way or the other. So that is how it is. So if we don't have the manual to be able to decode it, so we are taking everything on face value. But if we do, then we will know that it is not on face value as it's being preached to us every time.
So now that we are doing the face value to this Bible, is it going to benefit us?
It's not going to benefit us.
So all we are doing and all the church and all the prayers, what happened?
Fine. What happens is that it's like when we say it's not going to benefit us, maybe I think we went very fast to that place. Of course, we will get some benefit. But to say to develop yourself consciously for everybody to be able to...
That is what we are talking about.
Yes. That one, to do that is going to be difficult. But otherwise, we can all gain spiritual benefit from it. When there's one leader, Moses was interceding for all this thing. Christ, when he was teaching in the parables and this thing, one time when he left, his people came to him and said, why are you teaching these people in parables? And he said, because I'm teaching them because they don't have the access that you have. You are with me and you have been giving the understanding and the ear to, he said something like that to them. They were with Christ. So Christ was interceding for them. So they had it. They were close to him. Even when he says the parable, when they come home, they ask Christ and they will ask him to explain to us, make it clear to us. They will explain to them. But to the public that he was saying, he didn't explain to them the way he would do to his disciples.
So with this, do you think Christ is a persona or a symbolic?
Christ is a title. It's a title for somebody who have risen to a higher level of spirituality. Now it is also established and understood that even Krishna is said to be the same Christ. Buddha is Christ. That is the level. When you read that level, you become so. If we should say, we can say that there is no one Christ, but if you go and say this thing, I've already said it. But people can attack you. But it's a title. Yeah, it's a title.
So
it's a level of
people will attack you, you will say the truth.
No, I've already, even what I was trying to hold myself, I've already said it.
Which is?
You've heard it. So
which is? I heard it. So I didn't hear anything.
Fine, I'm answering your question.
Which
you
is?
You asked if Christ is a persona.
What you held it, what you were holding is what? Which is?
I said if we should be plain, we can say that there's not just one Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are watching The Biggest.
If I'm attacked on this platform, I'll blame you for pushing me that far.
You didn't know where you were going.
For pushing me that far.
You've been watching the show.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I also want to add this. This from the Buddhist angle. In Buddhism, they teach something they call the 10 words. In the 10 words, the lowest is called hell. And then from hell, we go to hunger for food. From there, we go to animality. From animality, you move to hell, hunger, animality. Then you move to anger, before. Then from anger, you move to humanity. From humanity, you move to heaven. From heaven, you move to learning. From learning, you move to realization. from realization, you move to Bodhisattva. From Bodhisattva, you move to Buddha. So you
That's
can
the
see
highest consciousness.
Yes.
So the recycling.
So it's like we start our level from hell. The third dimension, that is where we have the
everybody
jealousy,
there.
anger, jealousy. Everybody wants to be first. So we are there. Then we have the hunger. We want to hoard things. So when you are able to transcend from one of these levels, then you move higher, then you move higher, then you move higher, then you move higher. So when you read the echelon, then that's when you become what? The Buddha or a Christ. And people, so it's a universal thing, and it's not only in Christianity, in many, many religions, people have moved to that highest level of consciousness. So Moses was actually teaching a universal truth, but he have to actually link it with the people so that they will be able to believe and understand, because you cannot work with them if they are not willing to
go with you. Okay, so let's do this. Anytime we start complaining about something, or not complaining, start to point out faults or errors, what we need to do is to look for solutions. Okay? Yeah. So, Fanny said, the whole Ghana has been given to you. For this, you said Christians are reading the Bible with, I don't want to say surface.
Take the Bible idea from a face value.
I don't want to say it, you are saying it. What can you do? 5 structures that you think you would have given if opportunity is given to you.
I would also like to add to the same thing that, and it's not all Christians who take it from face value.
Of course.
There are those who also have deeper, who have the deeper understanding.
I'm a good Christian.
Thank you. Okay, so now, if, like the question you asked, if I'm in position of power to do something, I would like to quote a phrase from the foreword of a book. The book is known as The Richest Man in Babylon. Okay, so I like that book a lot because Babylon was a desert land. They didn't have water. And if you realize, even the reason why Egypt was successful at a very early stage was because, yes, not even the Nile, the river Nile that crossed through Egypt. It helped them for irrigation, for farming. When there was hunger, Joseph sent the children to go to Egypt and buy. Abraham went to Egypt when Isaac went to Egypt. They were developed because they have but these people didn't have water. The Babylon, they were desert, but because of knowledge and technology, they were able to survive, and they also became one of the richest nations. They developed, they had everything before it went down again.
Hammurabi and his people.
Yes. Now, the foreword from that book, The Richest Man in Babylon, it said, our progress as a nation depends upon the financial success of us as individuals. As individuals. Now, it went forward and said, it goes forward and say, I want to try and put it the way it comes. Okay. So, he also says that our, how they call it, the key word is what? Preparation. Good preparation is key to our success. And he said that our acts cannot be wiser than our thoughts. Our thinking cannot be wiser than our understanding. But after the first phrase, the second phrase that is just eluding me right now, but the first one said our progress as a nation depends on our financial progress as an individual. As individuals. Then, so if there's anything I can do, we have to, like, individually, everybody has to be able to make progress. It talks about how success mean accomplishments by the results of our effort and abilities. If the youth don't have abilities, like the right abilities towards success, it doesn't matter who the head is and whatever this thing you are giving. Recently, I watched 2 programs from Nigeria. On my DSTV, there's some Nigeria channel when I go there. There was a minister, he was an entrepreneur. and it was talking about how we can be successful. And it was talking about why people were always concerned, saying that we need capital to start a business. But I said, what do you need capital for? If you need 1 million to buy a car to start doing the trotro business, 1 million is the capital you need. But what do you want to use the capital for is to buy a car. Can you get a car on loan, 1 million? Then just go for that car on loan. You don't necessarily need to get the cash. It was so this is just something, by the way. Also, another minister, I've forgotten his name, but maybe the next time I come, he was saying that the nation have developed, how they call it, about a number like some thousands of youths who are unemployable.
Unemployable?
Yes, that was
How?
the word exactly. Thank you.
How? Unemployable, say?
Thank you.
They said they are beyond employment.
Yes, unemployable because they don't even get the trend of things, the way things are moving. They have been graduated, but the trend they want to go, the trend that used to be, that's when you graduate, you look for maybe a private work, you be employed. That trend is no longer there. You
Create
have to,
something.
Yes, because even in Ghana, there was a video that was going viral about how they call it, the national quiz, and somebody was like, so these children, the way they were very brilliant, the way they were answering questions, do they not know that the payroll is like full, and they are still learning, and they are this sharp? You see,
the payroll is full.
Yes.
So
whatever you are learning that you are so sharp,
waste
like,
of time.
That is the funny video that way. But I'm just saying this thing. Even if the government have announced that the payroll is full, and we have all these people in the pipeline about to graduate and need job, how are they going to get a job?
Into school, why?
And they are also thinking in that direction that they have to be employed. But none of them are thinking that our skill is, we are able to use our skill to also start something on
skill
our
ben school, I'm going to media start be honest. Skill ben.
This is the 21st century.
There's a skill ben. IT.
Any skill at all.
Give me 3 skills you think they can use to create something after
trust me, I cannot number. There's no number to it. But then the thing that if you don't know how to use that skill, for your survival, that is the problem. But it's not that there is no usable skill in the system. No, all the skills are usable.
What do you do yourself? I want to know the skill you are using so I can maneuver to tell people what to do.
I was trying to make this less personal and more focused on the subject here when I came. That's why. Otherwise,
yes.
Oh, but no, almost every skill is usable.
So tell us
job
3.
Markets.
Give us 3. You said no.
Okay, fine.
What skill are you using yourself to? You don't want to use to make it personal.
Now, your crew members. Whatever skill, I don't think they all have the same equal skill. But whatever skill, they are all here and they are all working. Yeah. So if you have 1, 2, I can count.
We are 15. But 15. The thing is that they have gotten the employment. That's why they are working.
Have different skill sets. But they've gotten
now,
this employment.
Was skill.
So you want the 3 you want, you have 7 in your house here. Yes. And the same thing out there and even more.
Out there where? That's why I said be specific. Be specific now.
I'm giving you.
Do you know how many people? Do you know how many people have graduated as IT personalities? How many people have graduated as doctors, nurses that are not getting anything to do? A nurse should she or he go and nurse the trees? That's what I'm saying. Get us careful. It's not that people don't want to go. Okay. They are going. The thing is that these people are employed. Now, whatever they learned from school, they've gotten opportunity for an employment here. They are working. So the skill, they are mature nurses, doctors. That is the most things people skills are people. Until what do you do? Who skill here then? Start baby.
No, the nursing. Let me address the nursing there. I once worked in a nursing institution. Now, and this is, I'm talking, even when I left there, it's 7 years since I stopped working there. But even then, before 7 years ago that I was there, at that time, we knew there were challenges on the job market for employment. So we started, one of our staff, the lecturers, took it upon himself and started giving some career orientation, helping the students how to go about it. So we start teaching some of them. They have to like come form some alliance among themselves in groups, and then they have to start going home to home.
Mobile nursing.
Yes.
And we start giving them. And apart from mobile nursing, even some institutions, some health institutions, they will employ you, but they don't want to take direct. So what we do is that we start baiting them.
Agency.
Even before the agent, we start baiting them. We will give the students letters to go and do a letter as a voluntary worker, free of charge, for maybe 1 month, 2 months. When they put it there, the moment the student is going through and they realize that these people, even free and they are working like this, they don't hesitate to employ them. There are a lot of techniques. I don't have all
university
in my
now what's free. Now we
2 months, if you are doing 2 months but national service is like free, even though you are being given some allowance.
Transport.
But it's free. By national, you are doing
so
6 months.
This is your plan.
This is not my plan.
A university graduate.
You wanted.
I feel all free now, free services.
So if we all feel like nobody feel like I can do it, everybody
that's
feel like
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's I understand what you are saying. But the point is, se si anankasa kura Ghana hanum na ye wono. Obi aba ha se si ende ya teacher free. Or somebody a mama me any free for 6 months na mu changes no. He is not getting. And who kura na si ya who kan so omunko fie Ghana ha kura nkrofo pe pass na etua. How many people are going to call you in their house? The hospital worker, how many people are called? Best said,
yeah, the issue you are addressing is true. And the issue is true, and it's not only in Ghana. There are challenges everywhere across the globe. You see, but you see, when we have to at least transform the way we look at things, if we really want to go. So, like you said, if I'm in a position of power, my goal is to try that every individual should be able to stand on their own to some level. Now, I want to even pitch, and we have to stop thinking about the immediate generation. If we want success, and I opt to come here on this platform to share my destiny, because every time, like you are always saying that the goal of this platform is to awaken people's consciousness, is to help the nation. When you bring, I watch your program, when you bring people here, whether fetish, whether pastors, when they are done, you say, then I will catch or mine, then yeah, mine, which say, then they bet to me, yeah, man, I'll call him. You are always asking that thing. This is something that I've also looked at. We are always talking about how we've been oppressed by the superpower, by our colonial masters, and it's still ongoing. But I feel like it's about time we also have to pick some pages out of their own book and use it with them. But religion is only one thing.
Do you know how many people are there?
A lot of people are there, but I'm saying that we should take a page from their book. Now, when I say that, okay, fine. Religion is only one thing. And what I wanted to say on that point is that if we want to progress as a nation, if we fight the world religiously, we will fail.
I know dear.
Intellectually, we will fail. Economically, we will fail.
Politically,
we will fail. Militarily, like how the coup and all this thing, we will fail. Any single front we try to fight, we will fail. But we have to fight on every front. We have to fight on every front. We have to be well equipped in every front. That is how we can do it. That is how I see it.
And do you think we are doing that?
When I say every front, see, we how do you call it? We were raised in so many ways. There's so many things that we did from infancy that have impacted our thinking, but we don't see it. Most of some of our spiritual people, they have some powers, spiritual power, but the thing is that they don't even have the strategy how to implement it. And that is why a lot of we are having a lot of challenges. But now, what is strategy? Look at, let me just bring games that we play. Look at the games that we have in our country. We have Ludo. We have, how do you call it?
Dummy.
We have Worry. And then, yes.
Ampe.
Okay, let's say the board game. You these 3 games. So we have a Ludo or Worry and this thing. Look at how these games go. Now, when you start Dummy, you are playing 2020 marbles. They are all, how they call it? What's the right to say? Pawns. They are all slaves until one becomes Akroma. then it becomes a queen, then it can start jumping. Sometimes all two sides can die before we achieve something. When you look at Owari, you start with 4-4. You go on, some place have to empty and go on, then get 4 there before you collect. Ludo, everybody 4 marbles, everybody is in the house. You have to play 6 before you move out. Now the whites, the Western world, they play Monopoly, they play chess. The Chinese people, the Asian people, they play Go. Now look at chess. Chess is like dummy, but chess, they start with 15, this thing. 15, the 5, I think 16. Now they have about 6 or 12 pawns. And the back, they have a king, they have a queen, they have a bishop, they have a castle, and then they have a knight. They always start this game with these people at the back. The pawns go and these people govern. The queen is the akroma that you have to struggle to get. They start with the queen and all this thing. They start everything with all this higher level at the back. Now, when you go to Monopoly, any game you start with a capital. They give you some money. When you move, wherever you fall, then you start buying. You see that this thing in the beginning, they
prepare some mind.
Yes, some strategy. We have these games that like makes us, and we have also the religion that is telling us we have to suffer before we become successful. We have this game that is like unconsciously is telling us we have to suffer. Somebody can be trying for 6 hours and everybody will go to home and finish when you are playing Ludo. The Chinese Go, when you look at the way it's played, you see that all these things teaches them strategy. We have to have some strategy. We have to be able to like fight in all fronts, not one single front. And also we have to sometimes stop looking at the immediate generation. Look at maybe at least, if not 7 generations ahead, Krana, 5 generations ahead, or at least some generation ahead.
Some of us should be understand to sacrifice. There is
one city in Italy that I always admire, and I'm always saying that when I travel, that is the first city I want to see. It's called Florence in Italy. It is said that that's where Leonardo da Vinci comes from. Now in Florence, there's a cathedral there. It's called St. Mary of the Flower. Now that cathedral, they use 120 years from the day they laid the first stone to the consecration, 120 years. But the completion took 140 before it was fully completed. Now, when they started that cathedral, I'm not saying this in correlation with our cathedral. At that time, having a cathedral is something that moved the nation's economy, because Europe at that time, they've killed all those divination people, the witches, they burned them all at the end. Now, so it was reasonable. The belief system was only one, the Christianity, the Roman Catholic, which any other thing will be, which any of that, even if you practice, is in hidden. So the church brings them, it helps their economy to grow. But when they started building this huge cathedral, they didn't know how to roof it. And even if it took 120 years from the foundation to consecration,
they were able to finish
ask yourself, those who started, do you think they were there when it was consecrated in 100?
They were gone.
They were all long gone. Even by the, So by the time when they started, those who started, the cathedral was so humongous that they didn't even knew how to roof it. But this was the idea of the builder. They said, this thing is going to take long to finish, because they have their project timeline and they know that it's going to take like this 100. We will not be there. We don't even know how to roof it, but we know by the time it's done, a generation will arise that will be able to finish it. And when they finished at that 100, the roofing was a challenge. The only architect that was able to roof it, they use his name. So there are 2 ways you can search for that cathedral. You can use his name, Brunelleschi's Domo, then it will come, or Saint Mary of the Flower, then you will see that cathedral. So, and he was even one rogue, rogue architect. When I say, you see that doctors, architects, scientists, they have their community. You have to be like a
from
rich,
them.
Yes. They have to
That
give
is
you
a Ghana law
license,
school.
but and also they have to govern you how, yes, like the law. They have to govern you how you should go about your thing. He was rogue that he tried to do like rogue activity because he wanted to explore in all angles. So he was shunned from the community. But he was the one who was able to bring that because he wasn't going by the normal norms. He was able to do it. But those who were all in the community who were in the normal, none of them was able to do it. So their idea, they said by the time it is finished, a generation will arise that will be able to. When we do everything, we think about the immediate generation. But if we can think about maybe 7 or 5 generations ahead, then we can sacrifice today and do something that will transform. We know that when we are not even there, then we can say that at this time, this nation or this continent will transform because of some foundations
we've
that we
laid
put
for them.
Yes.
So why were you using our cathedral for an example?
No, because,
are you saying our cathedral is not important?
No. Please don't get me wrong.
I'm asking.
The moment I say cathedral, for the viewers' sake, so that people don't.
So that they do 10 years.
Our cathedral, when our cathedral was, it became also something of politics.
Let's leave that one. Let's leave it. Or do you think it's a history like you are?
No. I don't think it doesn't have any correlation because Ghana here is not only Christianity that's is accepted here.
No,
so I cannot say that.
So your time is almost due. So your advice to the public and your numbers and all that, what you have to tell people like your age and the young ones coming, advice you have to for them, and then what you have for Ghanaians and especially the Christians, because you came here to debunk the creation theory of the Bible. Yeah. So advice you have for them, and when you are done, you leave your numbers. So when they want to grill you, you will get access to grill you.
No. I think everything we have to do, we've done it on the platform. So yeah, I'll leave my contact out of it. But when you say advice, when I was in the nursing school, I had a colleague, he used to say something. I think sometimes I agree with him. He said, nobody knows how to live life better than another. Yeah. So I don't think I'm in the right place to advise people, but I feel that at least whatever I've shared on this platform, however, and whatever religion, whatever angle you are coming from, by all means, you can find something from one of the things, and if you find anything I've said usable, then pick it. Otherwise, trash it. I think that's what I can really say.
You are very wise, so you are a nurse or a doctor. You have a way of covering, you throw a blow, and you have a shield to cover it.
That was not the intention.
I'm not saying.
That's not the intention.
Thank you so much for coming, brother. I think you have to come back. I think you are sensible, honestly.
Thank you.
I think you have to come back to share more knowledge with us. So we are grateful. We appreciate your coming.
Grateful, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Busia, Mommy ensia dio. Mommy ensia dia na baby aye ko sesia no. Say ye adwene say no na last week no. Make catch am say Bible ni ye whole coded book. So mommy ento ye bo na wo de wo fo say ye de be dada ye wo fo say nyo. There anyansa sem bi wo mu a ye betumi apike ne de asisi ani. Tina me say me de me into Bible no ntwene da. Never, it won't happen. Now the say Quran na me read ne baba na da me tie si abonten na me start say me twa Arabic no be shocky. We are the biggest and we are still the largest, the highest, the greatest. Ye na ye mama fo hwe bi no mu so ye bi ahwe. Enu na ma ye the mother of all spiritual platform. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for watching the biggest. Shalom.